All right, guys, I have Chase Marberry here with House Chasers. Kind of just tell us a little bit more about what that is.
All right, so it's a real estate brokerage. First off, we help people buy, sell houses. We also do property management. We've got over 40 properties that we're managing. A lot of them student rentals, and this is our busy time of year to be getting properties pre-leased for the fall. A lot of students are back from spring break and got to find their house for the fall. So we do property management, we do sales, and then now we're getting into the investing side of things, and even doing a little bit of consulting, teaching, educating other people how to do investing, how to do real estate investing the right way, building passive income, cash flow, and that's kind of my primary focus, is even just my own personal investments and building that passive income so that I can work when I want, if I want.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, as an entrepreneur, we work 100 hours a week to avoid a 40-hour-a-week job. So
exactly.
It's not always passive. It's sometimes more active than I want it to be. But the idea behind it is eventually building a business, building systems, hiring the right people to run them. And so, in the last 6 months, or I guess 9 months now, I started this company. I've hired 6 agents. We've got 2 full-time property managers and showing agents that we're just blowing and going, and it's good. It's good to see the growth. Now it's figuring out how to implement the systems to reduce and replace myself, how to take myself out of the equation, and that's honestly been my biggest challenge this year, with finding the right software in the systems and implementing strategies that allow us to look like we're in more than one place at a time, and make sure the customer's getting taken care of, but without going out of our mind.
Nice.
So that's kind of the gist of what House Chaser does. We've got House Chaser Brokers, House Chaser Leasing, House Chaser Investments.
Wow, it's just all over the place, and it's grown quite a bit.
It is.
How long have you been doing that?
So I've been in real estate for over 10 years.
Okay.
And I've been a sales agent. I was a sales agent for 10 years and have been doing investing, I guess, about the same length of time, but not full-time until the last couple of years. So I've been full-time investing in the last couple of years. And the investing side of things, now we're kind of transitioning our focus to multifamily investments and syndication and putting together much larger investment properties so that we can bring in other outside investors and generate passive income from more than just myself and my family.
That makes sense. So if you could, if somebody were to contact you for something that you would need, so what are you looking for? Are you looking for renters? Are you looking for more of an investor? Are you looking for a partner? What do you need right now?
All of that, honestly.
All of it?
Yeah, because I've got so many different strategies and businesses, I'm looking for anything and everything. If you are looking to rent a property, check out our website, leasing.housechaser.com.
Leasing.housechaser.com.
It has all of our properties on there. You can submit applications, you can set up your tenant portal, pay rent online.
Nice.
Everything's
streamlined
electronic.
everything.
Yep. So if you're looking for a rent house, if you are wanting to buy an investment property, a rent house, I've got properties for sale. I've got business strategies and ideas on how to get into investing if you've never.
Where would they go to buy a house from you?
Same
thing. Leasing.housechaser.
Actually, housechaser.com.
Just housechaser.com.
You can see now. Inventory is typically, when it comes to investments, inventory is kind of the hard thing, and so off-market deals is where I'm learning is the best avenue for finding investment properties.
Nice.
And so we have a lot of properties that are off market that we're either wholesaling or we're flipping, and so they may not actually be online. So you may just have to reach out to us.
So it won't be even on your website?
It may not even be on my website.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they reach out to you on there, hey, I'm looking for a house, you might have
I can
a couple of properties available.
I can definitely hook them up. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And then if you're looking to sell your house, traditional, primary residence or or even investment property, whatever. Yeah,
Nice.
just reach out to us. You can email me.
Housechasers.com also?
Yep, or you can email me, chase@housechaser.com.
Chase@housechases.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you were also talking about leasing, renting, buying, investing.
And then we
If
also
they want to do your classes, where would they go?
Well, we don't have an official curriculum put together yet, but
Okay.
we're probably going to be launching maybe some podcasts or kind of some curriculum on learning how to
Nice.
do investing. Right now, I just do kind of one-on-one consulting with people.
Okay.
And so again, you just reach
Email
out to
you?
me and we can schedule something. Typically for consulting, if I'm not going to be, involved with the actual transaction and actually have an ownership portion of the transaction, then we can do just hourly rates for, consulting
Nice.
to learn.
So how long would something like that normally take? If they wanted to do a full-on consulting, you teach them how to do it and they go out on their own.
I would say from A to Z to actually full turnkey, it
Yes.
could take 6 months.
Okay.
It depends on your ability and your financial ability and, your own personal goals, and then also finding the property, and it could take a while. But the learning process, could probably, it's 10 years of learning. How do I cram that into, a shorter period of time?
Absolutely,
So it's
absolutely.
really just giving you the basics, the building
So
blocks.
if you're if you're midlife type person, you're 50-something years old, you want to start buying a couple of properties, not to be a real estate agent, just to own a couple of rentals.
Yeah.
That's something you could teach them?
It absolutely
And do you
is.
think it would still take 6 months to learn the basics, or could they
Not
kind
necessarily. No.
Okay.
If you were looking at just you had money and you wanted to buy some rent properties and get them rented, that could happen in just a couple of months.
Nice.
We could probably find you some properties, and then I can
You
do
would help
full
them.
turnkey with finding you the property, purchasing, renting it out, managing it. If you wanted it to be passive income,
Nice.
so that you're not having
Yeah.
hands on, then yeah.
And then you even do the management portion as well, you said.
Yep.
So that would be something that basically I have, $500,000 in my 401k. I want to buy 3 or 4 rent houses, and then you help me manage those. So in that management process, is there a portion where they kind of have access to you or somebody on staff that gives them advice in dealing with certain situations?
Absolutely, yeah. If you hire us as your property manager, then we can connect you with all the tools in our toolbox. So
Nice.
even recommending CPAs and tax strategies. We're not CPAs, we're not attorneys, but we can connect you with the right people that we use, that we hire, and that are on our team to make sure that you're reducing your tax liability, that you're putting yourself in the strongest position possible with rental property.
So I'm a big believer of small business. That's why I do the podcast, and that's why I want kind of people up and coming instead of just picking that big corporation. What makes you kind of stand out in if I wanted you to manage my properties over the bigger name people
Sure.
that do it 10% or whatever they charge?
Right. I would say just intuition in the market, really truly understanding the market. We've got people that I meet with bankers and investors and title officers every day, every week. We're meeting with different people, and I'm learning what's changing in the market, what's affecting me as an investor. A lot of property management companies don't manage their own properties.
Yes.
I'm managing my own properties. My property management company manages my own properties. So
You are involved.
I'm involved.
The owner is actually involved.
And as the tax reform bill that just came changed, I'm very in tune to what is affecting investment properties because it affects me directly.
Yes.
And so I have to be on top of that. And so whenever I learn about changes or I learn about a new loan product that might work for somebody, I'm learning constantly so that I can share that knowledge with my clients.
Nice. And so they'll have access to a professional rather than maybe some $9 an hour employee that
Exactly.
just gets paid to collect money.
Yeah, exactly.
So that they get the full investment team, they're dedicated, and then of course I'm sure you would care deeply about their property.
I do.
And it's not just part of their
I do.
portfolio.
And I have many clients that I will tell them, you don't need to buy this property.
Nice.
I'm not looking to make a sale, and that's one of the biggest differences. Whenever I'm going to manage a property that I'm going to sell you, I'm going to be a lot more careful about the type of property I sell you, because I want to make sure that I can actually get it rented for what I think I can.
Okay.
And then I want to make sure that managing it and the maintenance and the issues that we'll be dealing with are going to be manageable for me. Because otherwise, if I just sell you a property and then you go hire someone else to manage it, I'd have less of an invested interest in it. And so I will commonly tell people, don't buy this property. I have a client right now that her goal was to buy 3 more properties this year, and
Yes.
I'm telling her, I think you should just stick with buying 2 right now.
Okay.
And less money in my pocket, but she's a lot happier because of that decision, and
I like it.
I'd rather have loyal fans than
Yeah. Than disloyal
Than
buyers.
disloyal buyers, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, right now, primarily, what does your biggest source of income kind of come from? Like, where's that? Which portion of your business brings the most in?
Well, up until 6 months ago, it was being a buyer's agent or a seller's agent.
Okay.
And listing, selling houses, but it's really been amazing to see that transition, because that was my goal of starting my own company and going on my own, was to transition away from, because I felt like that was still active income. I was only earning as long as I was working.
Yes.
And even whenever I would go out of town, I didn't have a team of people. It was just me.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I stopped working or went out of town, nothing would get done unless I was the one doing it.
Exactly.
Transitioning from that into the investor mindset and understanding passive income, it has gotten to where, honestly, it's probably 50-50. Passive investments to active commission on whether it's property management or sales. So it's really kind of cool to see that transition happen just in the last 6 months.
So, what kind of, who was there in the beginning, like, to kind of help you, guide you out of working for someone else and into opening up House Chasers? And was it just you and your wife that you just decided? Did you have a mentor who was like, yeah, do it, man? Or
I actually signed up for a coaching program through the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad program.
Really?
And I had a Rich Dad Poor Dad coach, and they taught me and helped me understand the mindset of an investor, and started really understanding and comprehending what it means to be an investor. And so that, honestly, I think was probably what gave me the confidence and helped me make the decision to take the leap and go on my own. Yeah.
So where can they find that? Is this richdadpoordad.com, or where can they sign up to get a coach like that?
Yeah, I think so. And I will tell you, it was a great coaching program at the time, and it got me to where I am now. But now I'm moving into other types of coaching programs. It was great for kind of the introductory concept of just understanding the investment mindset.
Okay.
But I think richdad.com.
Okay, or they kind of Google it, but they
Sure.
do a coaching service.
It's
They
not
can
cheap.
sign up. I'm sure it
Not
isn't.
cheap
I'm
at all,
sure it
but
isn't.
yeah, they've got coaching programs if you want to learn.
If you're willing to invest in yourself, I think self-education
Absolutely.
and investing in self-education is
Absolutely.
very important. I even think, even as far as finding a cheap private school for your kids, just because you have some skin in the game.
Right.
You should care about their education. You
Right.
should be involved with the teachers and
Absolutely.
the decisions to even keep them there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So having some skin in the game is very important. If you're going to invest in yourself, do it.
Yeah. But
So-
since then, I've added a lot of mentors to my team. I have, part of why I meet with so many different people throughout the week. I have lunches with people constantly, and they're all on my team. They're my mentors. Whether it's a banker or another property investor or another business owner, I'm meeting with these people constantly, and they're my mentors, and I'm learning and broadening my views on how business is done. And so it's really been a process for me to just educate myself,
Okay.
and then find the right people to teach me what I need to know.
So invest in yourself, and then mentors to kind of keep you going along the way, and
Right.
any struggles or road bumps you hit, and then from there you can
now
start.
I'm able to mentor other people.
Nice.
That's the most exciting to me, is whenever I've been poured into and mentored and taught, and now I have this understanding, and now I can pass that on to other people.
Beautiful. That is amazing. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about that, some of the ideas you had. So I guess before you got into real estate, kind of what are some other things that you thought about doing before you got into that? way back 10 years ago?
Lego designer.
Okay, nice.
Honestly,
Hey.
I knew I wanted to be in real estate since I was 15.
Really?
So
That's fantastic.
Yeah, before that, it was,
Had the goal.
it was childhood dreams. But I even have on my wall the original patent for the Lego as a piece of artwork on my wall. But this has just kind of been my dream. I know I wanted to be in real estate, and that's evolved over the years. It went from thinking I wanted to be #1 sales agent selling 200 houses a year to realizing and understanding what it means to be an investor.
So it was just a steady progression for you more than anything else. There wasn't like, oh, well, I want to open this or this or this or a million other ideas. It was really kind of a nice...
I always constantly am coming up with different ideas, business ideas, but for the most part, they've all centered around real estate.
Gotcha.
And
so not a lot of chasing rabbits kind of
not
thing,
a lot, yeah. And my hobbies, definitely. I have all kinds of crazy hobbies, and I do bagpipes and rebuild Corvettes and pinball machines, but when it comes to work and business, it's kind of always been the same focus.
For like the younger audience, high school kids, things of that nature, kind of talk a little bit more about, or at least, I don't know if you feel the same way, the need to get a job that pays well, and you can then have free time and money for hobbies. So now you can play bagpipes if you want to.
Yeah.
But if you would have chose bagpipes as a career, you may not have what you're doing now, the wife, the kids even.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. I don't know. I would say hobbies can be done a lot less expensively than people think. I started bagpipes whenever I was 12 years old and bought, saved my pennies and bought the instrument, And so, sure, I mean, it takes some money to get into doing hobbies, a hobby versus a job. I would definitely say as soon as you turn a hobby into a job, it's no longer enjoyable. It's no longer a hobby. It becomes a job, and and so I would rather find a career path that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy, instead of trying to turn a hobby into a job.
Nice.
But yeah, I would definitely say, as a young person, pursuing your dreams doesn't have to mean you say no to other things that you're interested in. You can do multiple things. You can try different things to see what you enjoy doing. I thought you were going to go as the direction of education. Whether you go to college or not.
Please, talk about that, man. The not need to go to college.
Yeah.
Especially if you're 12 right now. 15.
Yeah. In this day and age, we have too many bachelor's degrees. And, I read reports all the time that there's not enough.
Say that again.
Too
many bachelor's degrees.
Too many bachelor's degrees.
Do not go get one.
There's not enough tradesmen.
Yes.
There's not enough skilled trades. And yet, sure, those jobs may not pay as high as a corporate job, but you're going to have a higher likelihood of getting work.
Yes.
And of earning money.
Yes.
And
good money.
Well, not just that.
50, 60 grand, 75 is nice.
It could open the door into opportunities to own and run your own business. And if you're trained to, growing up, you thought your parents said you got to go to college. That's the safe route. To me, that wasn't the safe route, because getting a 4-year degree and going and working for someone else as an employee, which is to me what college trains people is to be an employee. It doesn't train you to think on your own and build a business. If you're an employee, that to me is more risky, because you're at the will of whatever the market's going to do in that industry, that particular company. I have friends that have been recently laid off. They had great jobs, great businesses, and for whatever reason, they got laid off, and they don't really know what to do. I've always been a self-starter. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've never looked for someone else to hire me. I've always looked at what can I do to create and start my own thing, and be the master of my destiny, if you want to say that.
Nice.
But, going to college is great for the experience and the maturing, and some people need that, and some people need a higher education if you didn't get that as in high school. Love of learning is something. I've always had a love of learning. I've never enjoyed school. And so if you're not going to go to college, being self-taught, educating yourself.
Yes.
I probably buy 50 books a year. Reading and finding a topic you're interested in that you're passionate about will make you want to learn more about it. School is going to teach you all the things that you're required to know to pass the test
Exactly.
and graduate. And,
Yes.
and by the time you're out of college, you've probably forgotten half of it because you weren't passionate about any of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would definitely say finding your what gets you up and going, what gets you excited about life, and figuring out how can you turn that into a career. You know, again, and I know that's the question of turning a hobby into a career. You know, I would just be careful, because if you enjoy it as a hobby, you may not enjoy it as a career.
Exactly. And so as an employer now, because you do have a couple people that work for you, right? What would make what are some assets or some values or things that people can do that make them more valuable to you than a bachelor's degree would? If they, without those values, you know, like showing up on time.
Sure.
That's something I had to learn.
Yeah.
19 to 22, if I didn't have a mentor like Elijah, you're smart, you're good at what you do, but if you can't get here at 3 in the morning, I don't need you.
I mean, yeah, the basics, showing up on time, paying attention, being actively involved in your job, absolutely. But I would say beyond that, having the ability to think on your own and not having to wait for a direction from someone else. I want, even my employees, I told them whenever I brought them on, I want you to work towards owning your own company, and I don't want you to work for me forever.
Mm-hmm.
I
want you to work out of here.
I want you to, my goal is all my employees should be self-employed at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I should, because I'll find plenty of employees over the years.
So you're looking for starter entrepreneurs who need some guidance and wisdom and some information, but that's it.
Yeah.
And so self-starters, people who are, willing to work and solve their own problems, is a very, very important skill to learn. And of course, it's not taught in schools.
It isn't. It really
at all.
Isn't. Yeah. And
it's listen to me and what I do and what I tell you.
It is. Learning how to connect with other people, learning how to build relationships is so important in this business. It's probably one of the single most important things, is knowing how to build relationships, and that opens so many doors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't put a value on a relationship, because even if the business and the money is gone, you still have that relationship, and that lasts forever.
Absolutely. So what would you say, because for me it was very, very difficult, because I don't know, as a child I was never really kind of taught these things. So this is stuff that I've had to learn through trial and error. What would you say 2-3 things as far as how you would go about starting to build a relationship with other people? A lot of people don't know how.
That's true.
You know?
Well, and even for me, again, coming out of the world of sales into the world of investing, and it's completely different. It's actually easier in the investing world than the sales world to build relationships. And when I say networking, going to networking events, I've actually started kind of retraining my thinking of literally all it is just making new friends. I mean, it is like going back to high school and starting over with learning how to make friends. And it starts with finding common interest, and that's one of the beauties of networking inside of whatever industry you're interested in. With me, with real estate investors, it is the easiest thing in the world to build friendships with people of all races and cultures, and it's crazy how everyone who's interested in real estate, we suddenly have a common interest,
common bond,
and we can have conversations that last hours, because we've both experienced some of the same situations with real estate, and to me that just is mind-boggling. But it's just learning how to make friends again, honestly.
Just finding that common bond, find something you're interested in.
Yes.
One of the things I tell my son, it was really funny because we homeschool, and I went to his little school group. There's about 8 kids in there, and he left that day and he's like, "Dad, nobody wants to be my friend." And I didn't get that vibe at all.
Yeah.
He literally has this mindset that people don't want to be his friend.
Right.
And I've done that. I did that my whole elementary class. You know, I was like, nobody wants to be my friend.
Right.
And so it's opening your eyes to the idea that people like other people, and people want to meet other people. We desire that.
We really do. And it's perception. It's the other people are thinking the exact same thing.
Yes.
And people who, you know, I used to think, oh, that guy's, you know, he acts too good for me. You know, he wouldn't want to have anything to do with me.
Yes.
And yet 6 months later, for whatever reason, we crossed paths again, and just because I was more willing to open up and start sharing and pouring in, he opened up. And he thought the same thing about me. He thought that I was, you know, high and mighty.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's crazy the perception we have of what other people think of us.
And then these hierarchies we build in our heads of other people when they're just like you.
Absolutely.
You put your pants on one leg at a time, right?
Yeah,
or you just jump right in. Okay, let me see. So what's kind of I guess some of the issues that you kind of run into starting up when you first transition?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm done here, going here, and then you start putting these processes in place and building that business and building those relationships. Were they already there?
A lot of the relationships were already there for me because I was staying in the same industry. I mean, to me, it wasn't that big of a change. I was just doing the exact same stuff I've always done. It felt very normal. Even just going from working out of a big office to working from home, it was very normal for me. But that transition actually happened pretty easily. I would say really the only challenges were the amount of work that I had to put into creating a new brand and image, and I have to take care of so many different things that used to be, you know, handled by office staff, and now I've got to take care of everything. But once I started doing it and understanding what I needed to take care of, it really was not as big of a deal as I thought it would be.
It is normal.
It
Work
really,
for you was normal.
It really,
just getting into it, but it was all for you this time, building that passive income. Can you talk a little bit more about passive income and why it's so important?
Sure.
Especially, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. To me, passive income is, and I know this is cliche, but it's freedom. It allows me to work when I want, if I want. You know, I said that before, but it's residual income too. It's not just passive, but it's residual. It comes in like clockwork, whether I'm sleeping or awake. And I know it's going to be there if I'm still off working a day job and earning a commission, selling a house here and there. And, you know, as a self-employed commission-based income, you know this, your income can fluctuate. And that's stressful.
Yes.
Because, you know, you have to plan 6 months down the road, and you have to have a budget for, you know, groceries that might last 6 months because your income might fluctuate. So having income that's consistent and residual and comes in even when I'm sleeping, it gives you that confidence to be able to go out and try new things and jump into a new venture and invest in a new business and build those relationships with people who, you know, they want to build a relationship based on, hey, we're going to start this new company and it's going to cost this much money, you know, can you bring that to the table? Absolutely. And you don't have that fear of, oh my gosh, I don't know, because I haven't had a closing in 2 months. I don't know if I can really, you know, put together that kind of money. Well, having the residual income there, it eliminates some of that fear and allows me to jump into things more confidently.
So is there a way or a thought process that other people can kind of get into to kind of start thinking, okay, how can I make passive income besides real estate? Or is, of course, that probably is one of the major ones.
It is.
What's
I mean,
the
you
mindset?
can, you know, you've got 3 different asset classes. You've got paper assets, your stocks, your bonds, notes that you can invest and generate passive income. You've got real estate that is probably the most stable and the easiest to get into and learn. And then business, and you can own a business, start a business, and eventually hire employees to run that business, and then that could be passive income. So it really just kind of depends on your preference and what you're interested in. You know, I've got friends that their passion and interest is stocks or even cryptocurrency, which to me is still kind of a paper asset because it's not a physical product.
Mm-hmm.
And so it depends on what your passionate and your interest is, because again, it's all about education. You've got to be educated in whatever class you're going to invest in. You don't want to be handing your money, or at least in my opinion, I don't want to hand my money to a professional investor and let them invest it in stocks and bonds and mutual funds, because high frequency trading, they're going to be racking up their fees. They're the ones getting rich.
Yes.
And I have no control over my money.
Mm-hmm.
So educating yourself so that you can have full control over your money. And if you're going to invest it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, or business, knowing what you're doing and having the knowledge and education to do it professionally and do it well is going to take you a lot further than trusting somebody else.
Like we said earlier, that doesn't come from a degree or from school. That comes from investing in yourself by finding multiple books on the subject, finding a mentor, finding a coach, and taking that time. It's not something you're just going to pick up.
Absolutely.
It takes years and years and years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you reading right now?
Let's see. Right now, I'm actually doing a lot more podcasts than books.
So who would that be right now? Who are you following?
So Bigger Pockets is a big real estate podcast. Okay. That one is fantastic for if you have no idea what you're doing and you want to learn. Just start listening to Bigger Pockets podcast.
Just plug it in the morning on your daily commute and listen and learn.
Yeah. For me, right now with the multifamily investing, I'm listening to a couple different ones. Michael Blank.
How do you spell Blank?
B-L-A-N-K.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why he pronounces it Blanc, but
he wants to be French, man.
He's Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
So Michael Blanc is one, and then Old Capital.
Old Capital.
Okay. Out of Dallas. So those are the two that I'm listening to right now.
Nice.
And then right now it's tax season, so I'm also reading a lot of books. I've actually got a book on my desk, Tax Strategies for the Savvy Real Estate Investor. So.
All right, and that's updated for the new tax bracket?
I don't know if that one is. I haven't gotten all the way through it, but I think it just came out last year, so it may not be.
So it's, what is it again?
It's Tax Strategies for the Savvy Real Estate Investor.
Nice, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so then also, since you are a big reader, what is a specific book that's really kind of shaking you to your core, maybe, hopefully, or shifted your brain and you maybe had to fight with it for 2-3 months, as you tried to wrap your brain around it? What would that be? Okay. Or even a speaker or a podcast?
So I have 2 books, actually. And,
beautiful.
And both of these, what I love about them is that they're not real estate specific. They are just under a mindset. They're all about developing a mindset of a creator, of an investor, of a producer. One is called The Richest Man in Babylon, which is a very old book, and it will change the way you think about money.
Okay.
The other one,
The Richest Man in Babylon.
The other one is Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
By Napoleon Hill.
I love that one.
Yep.
I haven't read the other one. And it's something that once I read it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And he tells you to read it again and again.
Yeah.
But I've said it to other people. They're like, oh yeah, that was a good book. It's like, no, you didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Yeah.
This is something you need to devour like a meal. Really, take your time, chew it.
Yes.
Go over it slowly, and then again quicker, and then quicker, and then quicker until it's here. That's one of those books that needs to become a part of who you are. So do you currently, I don't know if you have time, of course, you're working lots of hours. Do you volunteer your time or money anywhere?
I do. We give to several ministries. We've got a couple of student ministries we give to.
Okay.
Because we rent and manage a lot of student rentals. That's kind of something that's dear to my heart, is giving back to ministries that minister to students.
Which one are those? So that way people can kind of look at them also?
Yeah. STUMO, so it's Students for Mobilization.
Students for Mobilization. And that's here in Tech only, or is it?
No, it's nationwide.
Nationwide.
Yep. I'm best friends with the local leader at Texas Tech.
Okay, perfect.
So it's great to get to go and through that meet some of these students that work with him and that he ministers to. So I love getting to see that. And then we also give to a ministry out of Dallas that does a lot of outreaches, and they go to Mardi Gras every year and minister to people. And so I've learned that I'm most successful whenever I'm working on what I'm good at. I'm not good at, and I know I could get better at ministering to other people directly, and I do on a one-on-one basis. I'm not as comfortable in my element going out and talking to just random people I've never met. I love connecting with people that I know through real estate and sitting down and having coffee with them and talking about real life issues and pouring into them. And I know that because I'm not as in my element going out to just random people and ministering on the street, I give my money to those type of ministries because they're going to be more effective than I would be.
Yes.
And so I'm more effective at raising money and earning money and then giving it to the people that are going to be most effective at touching those people that I would never even touch.
Exactly.
I'm in my little bubble, and most of the people I am around on a day-to-day basis are real estate people. So
I think taking that business mindset towards the gospel is so important. I mean, what does that dollar per soul save?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Is it going towards some giant building, or is it actually going, like Gospel for Asia is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because these guys live there. They live off of a bag of rice a day, and they travel from village to village on foot. You know what I mean? They're not going to pay for an American missionary who's going to stay in a nice hotel for 4 months, show them the gospel, and then see you later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's invested in them and who they are. And the same thing with you.
I've got a very different view on tithe than most people. And I do. I look at it as, at the end of the day, we're all selling the same product. The product is salvation.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if this church is doing it this way or this church is doing it this way. Why would I? There's no reason for they're marketing to me to try to raise money to sell the same kind of product. So it shouldn't matter to either church.
No.
If I'm not giving it to either one and I'm giving it to
something else
that's on the street, putting
on the ground, boots on the ground for me is so much more important when it comes to.
So I look at where's my dollar most effective.
Yeah. And so that's a great way. I mean, I think that's why business is so beautiful. So habits, of course, Zach Watkins takes a totally different approach to this.
Yeah.
But habits, I feel, are something that are very, very important for success in both life and in business.
Absolutely.
So what is one or some of the ones that you've learned to develop that you would say is important for everyone?
Actually, micro habits is kind of my new catchphrase, and I tell people about micro habits of small changes, little things that make such a big difference, because I've learned that anytime I try to set a major goal to change something in my life, it's hard to make that change. You try for a few days. I mean, if you want to talk about resolutions, trying to go to the gym, and most people are like, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to run 2 miles. I'm going to, you build up these, you have this idea that you're going to create this new habit, and it's so difficult to even get it started. Instead, I want to be lazy. I want to approach it from a lazy standpoint of what am I going to be able to implement in my life and make small changes that are easy for me to change and easy for me to do. And so for me, I know that the only way I'm going to get up and work out is if I have someone to go with me and work out. And so I'm constantly inviting new people to come work out with me. And I tell them, hey, if you want to come learn about investing, my first investor meeting starts at 6:30 in the morning at the gym. So I'll meet you there and we can talk about investing. But I know that that's one of the only ways it's going to get me to the gym. And so, but exercising is very important. It gets my brain active. It keeps me in shape. It releases endorphins. It makes my whole day much better. So exercising is a very important habit for me.
And you like the mornings?
I like the mornings.
It sets the day off better.
It does. It wakes me up. It gets me going. Other habits, honestly, again, I've just had such terrible times at trying to get into the habit of, writing. I want to sit down and write and journal, and so instead of big major changes, I find, if I can just sit down for 5 minutes in the morning and just kind of think through my day and think through my week, my month, my year, the next 5-10 years, and it just, for a couple of minutes, retraining my brain of why am I getting up and doing what I'm doing right now? Where is that taking me this week, this month, this year? And what is my ultimate goal? And keeping that in focus every single day. One thing that has really made a big impact on me is having time with my family in the mornings. And we have a normal little daily routine that we get up and we get the kids up and we do breakfast and we spend time together. And you know, I'm in the office by 9:30 in the morning, but we've taken that time as a family to just start that day out right together, and that sets the tone for the rest of my day because it reminds me again why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. I like that. It's nice setting it up with the family. And so, what are some of the bad habits that you might have already kicked from when, of course, you were younger, or maybe even just this year,
Yeah.
or stuff that you even struggle with now that it's okay because it's about the process?
Yeah. I would definitely say my sleep schedule.
Okay.
Getting married and having kids
Mm-hmm.
definitely will fix if you like sleeping in.
Uh-huh.
Once you have kids, you'll never sleep in again. So for me, that was one thing I was really
That's true.
glad.
I have 4 boys.
I was really glad that my kids are up at 7 o'clock every morning, and so if I want to have time to shower and exercise and do all the things I need to do, then I know I've got to get up at 6 o'clock. So changing that habit of getting up on time and then going to bed at a decent hour, not staying up late,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the best bad habit that I've been able to change. Outside of that, I don't know. Mindset hasn't really been a challenge. And my wife jokes with me all the time that I'm the most confident person that she's ever met without being cocky. I just kind of have this, and I guess I do. I just have this. Well, of course I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I just have this internal confidence that whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to achieve. Whatever I set my mind to, I'll achieve. And so I've never really had a bad habit of thinking negatively or thinking I can't do this. So my mindset's never really been a challenge. It's really been more physical things, just too much sweets and.
Gotcha. Okay. So a lot of stuff that
Nothing.
you've worked on that
Right.
end. That obviously it's kind of hard to eat a bunch of crappy food and still feel good and
It
run a
is.
company and have a family.
It is. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that makes sense. On that competency thing, I like that a lot. Dr. Jordan Beatties, I've been watching a bunch of his stuff lately, and he talks about the need for men to be competent and not tyrannical.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a big difference in a lot of women. You can't tell the difference, unfortunately.
Right.
But there are men who are very assertive and very firm, and that's
Right.
the kind of man you want to look for.
Yeah.
You know, there's a guy who can care about you and be competent and know that he's going to be able to achieve whatever he sets out to do.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's something that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, that's it, man. Thank
Cool.
you so much. I
Awesome.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope we can help you out in the future. So
That'd be great.
thank you so much,
I
man.
appreciate your time.